Hello, good morning, everyone. So the topic that we are discussing today is ensuring data integrity in the pharmaceutical industry. So this is a very important discussion because data integrity is in a way directly impacts the quality of the products. So uh, first and foremost, once again, I welcome to our discussion on one of the most critical aspects of pharmaceutical manufacturing and quality control, if you may say, that is data integrity. So, in this industry where patient safety and product quality are paramount, ensuring the accuracy, consistency, reliability of data is non-negotiable, if you say. So today we will try to explore what data integrity means, why it is so important, and how the pharmaceutical industry is working to uphold these standards. Now, first and foremost, what is this data integrity? Now, in a plain, simple definition, you can say that data integrity refers to completeness, consistency, accuracy of the data throughout its life cycle. So now, what is this completeness? What does this mean? The term means complete. Means if say, let's take an example of a simple pH meter in your laboratory. In this pH meter, you take the electrode, you take the solution, you take the electrode, dip the electrode in the solution and check the pH. Now the value that is displayed for that particular solution, that alone cannot be said to be the data. A data to be complete, you need other things. From a regulatory point of view, you need other topics, other data which is in which supports this pH value. Now in this case, case of or this example, you can say the person who did the analysis should be clear. The date, the time, the lab instrument log, instrument number, the calibration data, all this will together will complete the data. Now this is what is meant by completeness of the data. The data should be consistent and accurate, means whatever data is being displayed without manipulation, that value has to go. It's the data should the You shouldn't wait for to confirm whether that particular value that is being displayed is correct or not. You shouldn't wait for that. If you wait, then you can't say the data is accurate or it is consistent. And the procedure that is being followed throughout the for a simple say in this case itself, so the procedure that is followed by an analyst 1 should be the same as that is being followed by analyst 2 also. Anyone who comes to the lab should be following the same procedure. The procedure should be consistent, and you should have a proper SOP for this, standard operating procedure for this. So you should be acting as per the standard procedure. That is what is meant by completeness, consistency, and accuracy of data throughout its life cycle. Life cycle means what is the life cycle of a data? Data means from the point it is generated, from the point it is generated to the point it is destroyed, that is called the life cycle. During this life cycle, it goes to different stages. Say for example, the data is get generated, the data is shared, the data is saved, archived, and archive means the data has to be backed up, and then ultimately it is destroyed. So from a pharmaceutical point of view, you should know that the data that is generated in the lab should never be destroyed. Destroyed means the original data should always be preserved in some format. Means if the physical copy can be destroyed based on whatever your SOP says, you should have a clear definition of your destruction of the physical copy. You can destroy the physical copy. Say for example, your SOP says that we will be destroying the physical copies after 10 years. So after 10 years you can destroy the physical copies, but even after 20 years, 30 years, however long the company exists, the data should be backed up and should be available, because you never know when that data is going to be required. There are cases where the auditors have asked data which was almost 15-20 years back. So you should be ready with that data. So as long as the product is there, as long as the company exists, then all the data should be preserved. So In the pharmaceutical industry, this particular thing, that is data integrity, means that you ensure that all the data which is generated in the lab during the manufacturing process or even during the clinical trials, they are reliable and tamper proof. That is the only requirement, or what is the basic aim of data integrity. What is the basic aim of data integrity? The basic aim is that any data that is generated in the process or in the lab, in the company, it should be reliable and it should be tamper proof. No one should be able to play with the data. So from a regulatory perspective, or from the definition, even if whenever you go to data integrity, something that comes up is known as the Alcoa principles. Alcoa principles, it is actually a list of acronyms. Means you say each word, each alphabet as a full form, and that will give you and this Alcoa together will complete your data. And this, if you follow the Alcoa principles, it will directly ensure that you follow data integrity principles. So the first principle, first letter, what is that? It is A. That is Alcoa. First one is A. A stands for attributable. Attributable means the data should always show that who performed the analysis or who recorded it. The performance, who performs should be the one performance, who performed and who recorded should be the same almost always. So this is what is called as attributable. Attributable means the data should always show that who recorded it. Second in the line is legible. L, legible. Legible means data must be easy to read and understand. Means this is particularly in case of if you are writing, if you are manually writing something, the whatever letter or alphabet, anything that is written on the recording sheet or your lab notebooks should be very clear. It shouldn't be written in a haste, and it shouldn't be written in such a way that the person in front of you should not understand. There is aim, there are sometimes you write it that way, so that is not here. You should know that there is no handwriting competition going on. There should know that you don't need to have very good handwriting. No, it's the only requirement is that whenever you are writing something, it should be properly understood by the second person. That's it. That's the only requirement of legible, L. The third one is contemporaneous. C stands for contemporaneous. This is the toughest word in this lineup. But what does this contemporaneous means? Just that data should be recorded at the time it is generated. At the time means you shouldn't wait for confirmation whether the data is passing or failing. No, whatever value is displayed, or whatever value you are getting, or whatever observation you are getting in case of your physical test, you should be reporting or recording it in the at the same time itself. Now the fourth one in the lineup for Alcoa is O. O is original. Data must be first recorded version. Means you shouldn't be creating any second version, or you shouldn't be creating data till it is getting passed. This was something which has serious consequences. You shouldn't wait for the data to pass. Sure. So whatever value you are getting, you should be recording that value itself. That is original. Accurate, it should be free from errors. Means in this case the concept of checking comes in. Checked by, approved by. Means if you take any document in our pharmaceutical industry, you might be knowing that every document has a prepared by, checked by and approved by. These checked by and approved by are not for the sake, they shouldn't be there for the sake of it. It shouldn't be that only the prepared by is responsible for everything. The prepared by has a limitation. He or she might be the junior most in the team. He or she might have documented or prepared a document as per his or her understanding. So the next person who is checking it has an additional responsibility that they should add to or check it in a proper manner. So that is what is called as accurate. This process will ensure that the data that is recorded, it is free from any particular error. Now this Alcoa is taking additional words. That is now currently it has become Alcoa plus, Alcoa plus plus. These Plus stands for completeness, consistency, durability, which are these are all words that are getting added, and these words are getting added to this principle because the definition of a data being complete is changing as the scenario changes. Scenario changes means when currently, earlier it was manual reporting, now suddenly everything is getting automated. So there are new words that needs to be added, and to ensure that the data is complete, accurate, and consistent. That's the only requirement, and these words are just getting added. Now let's discuss something about what is known as why this data integrity is important in pharma. The consequences of a compromised data integrity in the pharmaceutical industry can be very severe. Inaccurate or falsified data can definitely lead to the production of unsafe or ineffective medications. That's a major risk. That's why we are all working. Why this data integrity is being given importance is that any inaccurate data will ultimately result in a compromised medication. Now what this ultimately lead to, the patient life being at risk. So regulatory agencies like FDA, the European EMA, WHO have very strict guidelines to ensure data integrity, because ultimately it impacts your public health. This non-compliance can be very severe. Non-compliance, or even during the regulatory audits, this is a major point that comes up, that data integrity issues. This, if a single issue is being highlighted, or if any single issue gets highlighted during these regulatory audits, then there can be severe consequences like recalls of the products. This can be very costly, like legal actions can be taken against you. And then ultimately what does these things do? The company's reputation is gone. The company might have been in existence for 20, 30, 50 years, but suddenly the reputation is totally damaged. So ultimately, if a damage happens, the public would be very reluctant to buy a medicine from your company. That is the ultimate issue, or why this data integrity is so important from the current pharmaceutical compliance point of view. Now coming to another point, that is why, what are the challenges that the company faces or the industry faces, pharmaceutical industry as a whole faces in maintaining data integrity. One of the major issues is that human errors. No matter how much investment the company does, or how serious the company is about data integrity, ultimately it boils down to human errors. If the level of human errors are too much, then there is nothing much the company can do. The it is up The company might have tremendous training programs, very rigorous programs. It would be investing in good great softwares, but ultimately it is up to the humans, or the person who is working in the lab, to ensure that the data that is passing through his or her hand should be free of mistakes. That is a major challenge that the industry is currently facing. Then there are vulnerabilities with respect to your softwares. That is the system vulnerabilities. There are a large number of systems or softwares which lack audit trails. The company might, when purchasing a particular software, from a economical point of view, the company might have invested in a lower grade, or you can say lesser, with a software that has low cost. But this could have a different severe implication, that the software could go outdated very fast. They might not be having audit trials, etc. That's why the cost difference would be there. So these are system vulnerabilities. First was human error, then system vulnerabilities. Then there is something called as intentional fraud. This is the dangerous of them. The intentional fraud means the person who is doing the analysis, or the team as a whole, is falsifying some data. Means just to meet the pressure generated due to the targets or deadlines. This is a very serious issue, and this is, you can say, it is a issue, it is a crime actually. Then there are data overloads. Means the system itself is getting so much loaded that a tremendous amount of data is getting generated, which is overwhelming for the overwhelming from an integrity point of view. Means so much data is getting generated that the system is not able to handle it. It might be due to low, the manpower is very low. Any issues could be there to those. How can we overcome these challenges? The industry, how these challenges have been overcome, we can implement good electronic lab notebooks. These are latest in news, electronic lab notebooks. Then you have the LIMS software. What is LIMS? Laboratory Information Management Systems. This, and then you have blockchains for securing data and trafficking, and tracking. So these things can be, these things can help you or the industry in ensuring data integrity. So how can we the other things that can be followed to ensure data integrity would be to build, train employees. This is the best thing that you can do. Regular training on data integrity principles is mandatory. Means take it on a weekly basis, monthly basis, depending on the severity of the issue. Take up regular trainings. Means the employee should be aware that whatever is happening, what is the significance of this data integrity. As a fresher or someone out of college might not be knowing that, well, a simple cutting of a value. If you cut a value, what would be the severity of that? If you cut a value and write, what is the severity? Make them understand, train them repeatedly. And second would be conduct regular audits. You don't have to wait for an external auditor to come and teach you something. You need internal audits on a regular basis. You have your quality assurance people who are there to check data daily. Train them properly, that what are the intentions. They should be the policemen of their lab. They should be treating each and every data very seriously. You should have a good quality assurance team who takes care of every. They should be realizing that they are doing a regular audits, that they are also responsible for the data that is being generated. And first and foremost, it's very much important that you promote a culture of integrity. How you promote a culture of integrity? That person shouldn't be scared when a value goes wrong. There should be transparency, there should be accountability. This accountability should be level at all levels of the organization. Only then these things can be controlled to a large extent. Hmm? Now, what are the roles of regulatory agencies? Simple. Regulatory agencies play a critical role. They enforce data integrity standards. They conduct routine inspections. They conduct review of the data, issue guidance documents to the industry, and these guidances are to be taken very seriously by the industry. Then these will ultimately promote a culture of data integrity, and this should be in your blood. Means data integrity will ultimately has to be there. In integrity means it has to be from a human point of view itself, that ultimately whatever you are doing will be going to save someone's life. So that's the something that needs to be taken very carefully. So, in the nutshell, I would say that data integrity is nothing but it is the backbone of trust in the pharmaceutical industry. Means people trust this industry that the tablet or the capsule or the injection that is he or she is going to take is going to save me from a life-threatening disease. So that trust cannot be broken. It has been broken multiple times. But you, as mature human beings or mature professionals, we need to be very aware of adhering to the sorry, excuse me. So we should be very careful. That we will adhere to the Alcoa principles or the Alcoa plus principles. We should be able to leverage technologies. We should be able to foster a culture of accountability. All this will ultimately ensure that the data, and ultimately data means ultimately their products would be reliable and safe. These things would ensure that our product is um, able to meet its primary goal, that is to save someone's lives or bring relief to someone's illness. So I am really thankful for to each one of you who has attended this session. Or here, if there are any doubts, definitely reach out to me or my team, and we would be very happy to help you and together I am very sure that we will be able to build a safer, healthier future of the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you so much.